You're in the right place. Hello, I'm Dan Harris.
Hi, and I'm Claudia Köstler.
You're over here, over there. Hello there, and welcome to Over Here, Over There, your international podcast that covers issues across borders and divides. Today, we're in Cheltenham, in the heart of the picturesque Cotswolds, where we set up a Vote from Abroad table to help Americans in the UK register to vote. As a precursor to an episode Claudia and I will be doing shortly, we want to play a clip featuring BBC Radio Gloucestershire's Nicky and David Smith, who asked us about getting overseas Americans of all political persuasions registered to vote. My podcast colleague Claudia Köstler was in London and missed the fun, but she was with us in spirit. In the meantime, have a quick listen.
But first of all, while our general election seems a distant memory, it was in July, there's a rather big election coming up in America in less than a month now. And on Saturday, one corner of our county was alive with expats learning how they can cast their votes, as BBC Radio Gloucestershire's David Smith was finding out.
Well, welcome to the prom in Cheltenham on a Saturday afternoon, a Saturday lunchtime. And this little corner of Cheltenham, you'd be forgiven for thinking, is actually Washington, D.C., because there are American flags absolutely everywhere and a lot of people buzzing around. Dan Harris is with me. Dan's an old friend of BBC Radio Gloucestershire, originally from upstate New York, lives in Cheltenham, so he's a dual citizen, a British and American. What are you doing out here?
We are representing Vote from Abroad, which is a table that registers Americans, both Republican, Democrat, and Independent. There's only a few weeks left to vote in the general election coming up on 5th of November. And so we're just trying to get those last Americans to sign up and exercise their civic duty.
What makes you think a table in the middle of Little Cheltenham is going to make a difference?
Well, we've had probably a stream of Americans and British coming through here, those that can vote or those who know other Americans who can vote. So the multiplier effect, I like to think we had about an impact of about 100 people here today, which, and where margins are so slim in certain swing states, as we know, David, is very important.
Introduce me to who's staffing your table today.
Yeah, this is Debra Drew, who is an old friend of mine, and she and I have had this table now for, well, a couple of general elections.
That's right, yes, It's our second one.
And you're local to us now, aren't you, Debra? You're from Gloucestershire these days?
I am, yes. I've lived in Gloucestershire since actually 1999, so for a long time.
Right, okay. What's the day been like today?
Today has been so exciting. Honestly, we cannot tell you. We have talked to maybe, I would say, at least 15, 18 different Americans who didn't realize they could vote, were unsure of the process, questioning, have they left it too late, thinking about, oh my gosh, my parents could vote, my kids could vote, oh, I've got a friend that I want to tell this to.
That's the multiplier.
It has been,
That's the multiplier.
it's a great way of putting it. It's a multiplier. It's been so exciting, and so many states, Alaska, California, Idaho, Texas,
North Carolina,
Pennsylvania.
Well, we ought to explain for those who don't know, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, that really matters. Every single vote there is going to count.
You're absolutely right. When the woman walked up and said she was from Pennsylvania and she needed to register to vote, honestly, we
all stopped. Stopped us in our tracks.
Time stopped.
And we should say this is completely non-partisan. This is down the middle. You just want Americans to register to vote. It's not a Harris thing or a Trump thing. It's down the middle.
That's right. We just want people to exercise their right and to understand that it's a real privilege to be an American and to be able to always vote.
Dan, Debra, and
Jenn.
Jen, whereabouts are you from originally, Jen?
Originally Texas.
From Texas, okay.
Yes, lived in New York a long time before I moved here in Gloucestershire.
Been here a while?
Since officially 2019.
Okay,
yes.
All right. So it's been a good day today then?
It's been great. It's so exciting to have people come up and say, oh, Americans. and oh, did I miss the deadline? I didn't know I could still register.
Yeah.
And so this is very good to get the word out and encourage people to look into the deadlines for their states.
And interesting actually also for British people to come and ask you guys questions about the whole process and what's going on.
Yes, we've had a lot of young British people get excited about seeing us here. What are you guys up to?
Yeah.
And then one young person came up and said, "Oh, my dad's American. I didn't know he could vote in America." And so she said she was going to go encourage her dad to vote and make sure he's registered. So it's really exciting.
Fantastic. So Texas, Florida, and New York well represented here.
Yeah.
In the middle of Cheltenham on the prom on an autumn day.
Yeah, can't you tell by our Cheltenham accents?
I could tell by your Cheltenham accents. Well, listen, I've come to sort of your territory here, and you're sort of standing in sort of my home county. I've got to go to yours, haven't I, really, in a few weeks' time?
Yeah, aren't we going to do that?
We're going to do that. We want to explain what we're doing.
Yeah, well, we're going. It's going to be a parade, just about. We're all going over. We're going to hire the QE2.
If we had that kind of money.
We're going over.
Yeah.
And we're going to make a difference.
But us three, Deborah, Dan, and me.
All right.
We're all going to Philly, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
We're going to Philly.
We're going to go right in the heart of the action. There's 7 swing states. But the key state, and it's called, the name of Pennsylvania, the nickname is the Keystone State, is probably going to be the most important.
And when we say swing state, for the layman, it could go either way. It's like a marginal parliamentary seat in this country, like Stroud has been, or Cheltenham has been.
Yeah.
It could go any which way, and it could decide the whole thing.
And it's kind of unique in a way for the U.S. system is kind of unique with the Electoral College. But it makes Pennsylvania the most important state at the moment, along with Wisconsin, Michigan, North Carolina, those, but Pennsylvania is a key. Democrats have to win that state to have a nice, smooth path into the White House.
And on the flip side, if Donald Trump wins it, all the doors open for him.
Momentum definitely goes his way, and that means that there are still paths for Kamala Harris to win. If she wins North Carolina, Nevada, and Georgia, she can still do it, but it just makes it harder.
Which is why, when you get a Pennsylvanian come say, "I'm from Pennsylvania," you'll go, "Wow, your vote weighs a lot here."
Yes, that's absolutely right. And it's why we're going. We're really excited to go somewhere where hopefully we can make a difference. I'm just thinking last election, the difference was 40,000 votes in the swing states.
40,000 votes between Wisconsin, Georgia, and Arizona.
That's half of Cheltenham, effectively, deciding the election for 350 million people.
That's exactly right.
I'm putting our arms around the shoulders of these two people here. we're going, and we're also my podcast partner, Claudia Kussler. If I could do a shameless plug, there's going to be our podcast Over Here, Over There. We're going to be there right in Philly. So we're going to be broadcasting from there and picking up a lot of great content. So we can't wait. We can't wait.
I'll see you for a cheesesteak in 3 weeks' time.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Exciting stuff, yes. Not long to go till that election, less than a month now. And that was David Smith with a group of Gloucestershire Americans passing on advice to their fellow countrymen and women about how to vote from our county in the US election. And as you heard there, it was mentioned, David will be joining them in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in a couple of weeks' time. So we'll get all the atmosphere surrounding that election very soon. But yeah, not long to go. It's kind of crept up. I hadn't quite clocked it was that close, but it is the beginning of November, isn't it? So yeah, got a sense of the atmosphere there in the centre of Cheltenham this weekend.
That was BBC Gloucestershire's Nicky Price ending that clip. Claudia and I will follow that up with another episode highlighting the views from the streets of Cheltenham, so stay tuned for that. As you heard, Over Here, Over There is going to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in a few weeks to cover the U.S. general election. Both Claudia and I will be doing the podcast from there. Claudia will also be doing her day job and covering it for the Süddeutsche Zeitung, Germany's leading daily newspaper. So she'll be a busy lady. And as you just heard, Debra Drew will also join us, along with David Smith, who will be covering the election for BBC Radio. And a shout out to one of my oldest and dearest friends, Professor Emeritus at Drexel University, Mark Brack, who will host all this mayhem on our behalf. What a guy. We're counting down the days to not only one of the most significant elections, but truly the most momentous election of our lifetime. Will Kamala Harris win and save democracy? Or will Donald Trump pull off another improbable win and keep himself out of jail? I must admit, President Harris has a kind of nice ring to it, but that's besides the point. So much is riding on this. It'll be scary, nerve-wracking, gripping, and we'll be in the heart of it. So check out our website at overhereoverthere.org for updates. And don't forget to subscribe and like the podcast. We'd very much appreciate it. Until next time, thank you for listening to Over Here, Over There.